Hello, we're going to access your Autotech Teams site both from a web browser and from a desktop application. We're going to start with a web browser because you can do this with any computer. What you want to first do is you want to go to your email. From your email, you have to already be logged in, but you can access all the Microsoft applications. And Teams is really just a combination of multiple applications. So the Teams can be found here. If you don't see it, you can also click on All Apps. That'll bring up all the different Microsoft applications. Now, this will first show you all of the teams you belong to, not just Autotech. I was just looking at Autotech, so it defaults to my last view, but you might see something like this, all the teams you belong to. If you don't see Truman Automotive Technology, you're going to have to request access to it, and then you should always belong to it. If you also aren't sure how to find it, you can click on Teams here. This is something very important to look at. If you ever get lost, just check where you are over here. Every team has a general channel. This is called the channels down here. And each channel has a very similar layout. This is a default setup. It starts off with the posts, which is basically how people have conversations back and forth, and it's really good for informal chats that you don't want to have over email. It's most like text messaging. It has stickers and GIFs and emojis, but you can also use it to share or comment on documents, and that's really useful. You can share documents from within the team, or you can upload new ones to say, hey, I found an error with this, or to share something, say, this was really cool and I wanted to talk about it. Then you could have an entire conversation about it. You can comment on threads, the whole thing. And you can save it, email it, lots of really cool stuff. The files are going to be a lot more familiar. This is based up on a SharePoint or a OneDrive file structure. Now you can see it all says modified by Aubrey. That's because with the different file structure, I had to move them over. And when I move something, I suddenly am the last one who updated it. But these are all the original SharePoint folders. Your team started off as a SharePoint, so this should be what's most familiar to you, and then it was converted to a team. Under the documents, you'll find everything that is in the general folder. You see here, it says general, that's your default channel. As you create new channels, they will create new folders of documents. So just note that before you create new channels. When you go into a document, you can comment on it, and that will bring up a conversation which is in the posts. That's another way. So the conversation continues in the posts section. As you can see, it's got the emojis and the GIFs. It's the same process. But what will happen is it will appear under the posts with that document tagged, similar to this. Now, Autotech had on its SharePoint two sets of folders. One was the general files, which can be found here, but the other one was the automobile compliance review for ASE back in 2020. And so this whole report can be found here. It is listed and titled as Automobile Compliance Review. You'll also see Site. That's something very interesting because of the conversion, where the actual team, the SharePoint site is here. If you like, you can start to add news to this site, or this piece can also be removed. And finally, something new that's been added is the Automobile Notebook. This is the OneNote app, and what you can find in the notebook is your Autotech Perkins Program of Study application. This has embedded evidence, and it has links to show that Truman's automotive program should be considered as a Perkins Program of Study. You can navigate through the notebook here and add new sections and new pages. If you want to find this through your desktop application, then you can find Teams in your taskbar, or you scroll down to M for Microsoft Teams. And it's going to look exactly the same. You know you're in the Teams because it's lit up down here rather than a browser. And that's it. That's how you can find it. Thank you so much.